Hello and welcome to Technology Update. Just about wherever you are, you're bound to find yourself surrounded by someone either tapping or swiping one of these. And to check out the very latest in handheld technology, there's no better place than the Mobile World Congress here in beautiful Barcelona. Now, this city is more often associated with sun, sightseeing, and sangria, but at the end of February, the regional capital was transformed into the center of the mobile telephony universe. All the globe's biggest tech firms were there to show off their latest offerings and highlight what to expect in the future. Mainstays like Samsung were extolling the virtues of its Note and hyped the upcoming release of the next generation Galaxy, which, by the way, took home the prize for Best Smartphone of the Year. But also making a splash were some names that not everyone's familiar with. China's Huawei sought to break from its low-cost past and mix it up with the big boys. According to the latest estimates, there are more than 6 billion mobile devices in people's hands right now. And that's set to jump to 9 billion by 2015, which means 1.3 connections for each person on the planet. And whether you're interested in content, devices, or the behind-the-scenes nuts and bolts, the gathering in Barcelona had something for everyone. All told, around 70,000 people descended on the Fira Barcelona Exhibition Center for a week of high-tech fun. And Russian companies, some with their own entertainment, weren't going to be left out of the party. CBOS was on hand to show off its video messaging technology, and there were those that do the work out of sight, like Berkut and Peter Service, which make sure your mobile purchases are carried out smoothly. There were also big hitters like the search engine Yandex, enticing device makers with their 3D interface. There was also the punchy startup Octopod, which has created a multi-purpose app platform and sells its services to any company needing their experienced development skills. But regardless of the country of origin, one topic that was on everyone's lips was how to deal with growing data demand.
We are moving to what we call the gigabyte society. It basically means that we are using more and more data on the move. We are believing now that all of us, in average, will use a gigabyte per day in 2020.
And to give customers all the access they need, Russian companies like Yoda have been doing all they can to boost capacity. With a mind to getting ahead of the curve, this St. Petersburg-based innovative company rolled out one of the world's largest WiMAX networks on the globe. And given that growing traffic is a worldwide issue, they even took their know-how and technology abroad, linking up the Central American state of Nicaragua. December 2009 saw the launch of their 4G network in capital Managua. And since that time, they also grabbed a foothold with WiMAX networks in Belarus and Peru. However, since all that work, there's been a major shift in the world of mobile internet. Despite its initial advantage, WiMAX appears to be losing the fight against up-and-coming LTE.
We plan to migrate our existing WiMAX network over the next few months to LTE, as well as launch new cities. So we're presently in the progress of launching Novosibirsk, and we will look to swap Moscow in the very near future in April, and we have Sochi, Krasnodar, and St. Petersburg and Ufa following, periodically after that.
Now, there's still a good amount of debate as to the relative advantages of WiMAX and LTE. The two seem to offer roughly equivalent optimal performance. And despite the lingo of the day, neither WiMAX nor LTE is actually considered by the International Telecommunication Union as a 4G technology. However, due to pluses like higher potential speeds in the future and lower latency, operators around the globe seem to have decided that LTE is the way to go. And that's forced Yoda and other early adopters of WiMAX technology to scrap their expensive existing links and launch brand new LTE ones. Despite the costs involved, there seems to be a pressing need to do so.
Data traffic in Russia is huge. Our network of WiMAX has uncharacteristic amounts of data compared to other countries, just from a WiMAX perspective, if you compare it to 2 or 3G networks. Our capacities are someplace in the neighborhood of 1.2 terabytes per subscriber per month uses of data. So in a WiMAX world, that's a significant. In a 2 and 3G world, that's unheard of. Okay. So, LTE will give us new opportunities to expand that and give us much more greater capabilities.
Originally, it looked as if all the top operators in Russia were going to hook up and develop one major LTE network together. While those plans for one unified system have since fallen by the wayside, Rostelecom and Megafon are still planning on piggybacking off of Yoda's LTE, exchanging equipment for access to the eventual network. However, one of Russia's so-called Big Three operators, MTS, has decided to go it alone and is developing its very own LTE network. And that's expected to come to Moscow this April, with further expansion planned to other cities in the following months. Once it does, the company's technicians will keep a watchful eye on traffic flows of its new network, along with the existing 2 and 3G ones here at their monitoring station in central Moscow. While the company is sure to face serious competition, those at MTS hope that in terms of LTE, size does matter.
As a major integrated operator with serious second and third generation network infrastructure already in place, we'll be able to roll out our new networks much more quickly. It's no secret that at least initially LTE networks will be relatively limited in their coverage. In situations where our 4G network is unavailable, we'll be able to give our clients and users the opportunity to take advantage of all our networks simultaneously in the so-called seamless mode, where you can switch from one network to another without losing your connection.
And in order to offer such uninterrupted service, far more base stations like this have to be installed. That's because the LTE network in Russia will require significantly more relay points than WiMAX. In Moscow alone, several thousand stations are to be equipped. While it hasn't been officially announced, Nokia Siemens Networks has been chosen to provide the necessary equipment for Moscow. And that hardware will be produced right here in Russia, at the company's facility in Tomsk. Nokia Siemens has opted to rely on the country's solid engineering and research base to help design many of the company's newest products. And that's something execs say has worked out quite well.
We're happy to be counted among the leaders. At the very least, we're the first to have launched a plant that operates according to the specific needs of Russia and countries of the CIS. I'm not able to disclose any names at the moment, but we already have 2 large LTE contracts for Russia. I think it's solid evidence that our strategy has been successful.
One of the reasons the company has done so well is that they teamed up with a top microchip maker, Micron, out in a high-tech hub in Siberia that encourages investment in the country's engineering and production base. With over 20 years' experience making super-fast semiconductors, Micron gives Nokia Siemens something that other partners simply couldn't. For example, the Russian firm is taking advantage of nanotechnology to make gallium arsenide cards to be used in LTE base stations. With Micron's help, Nokia can churn out around 10,000 such stations every year. And given the growing demand, those could soon be needed.
So Russia has one of the highest penetrations of mobile phones in the world. But on smartphone penetration, for example, the penetration is still quite low. So we can expect a data explosion, a data tornado happening in Russia as we speak. Actually, it's happening right now. And with additional technologies coming in, such as LTE, 4th generation, into Russia, this tornado will gain speed. So all of the operators together with us has to prepare for that tornado.
But there were other things on people's minds in Barcelona. The beautiful weather during the Congress was just begging for visitors to go out and explore the city. With so many sights, however, it was hard to know what to see first, whether it be the sun-soaked port, some of the stunning Gaudi buildings, or the tourist-enticing La Rambla street. But one thing's for certain, getting around an unfamiliar area has never been easier or more convenient thanks to the growing computing power in the palm of our hands, and any number of nifty add-ons. And as the technology continues to develop nearly unabatedly, the best way to find out all you need to know requires nothing more than a few probing questions.
Show me the weather. Where should I eat? Show me the nearest McDonald's. It's always tough to find your bearings in a new city, but with the help of some of the latest apps here in Barcelona, you'll be sure not to miss a thing.
And one of the newest such apps comes from iFree Innovations, which are at the Congress not exhibiting, but just there to check out the latest in the field. This fast-growing firm has expanded from its humble beginnings of just a handful of employees to a skilled team of several hundred strong. Their EverFriends app is a kind of all-in-one program that's similar to Apple's much-hyped voice-activated Siri. However, according to these developers, they combine Siri's usefulness with a little fun. Instead of a simple black screen, they have a whole host of characters with which to interact.
There'll be all sorts of animated characters such as girls, cute pets, aliens, and all kinds of other personalities that the user can interact with. They can have a range of moods, from good to bad, and can hold various conversations. We focus more on entertainment in this application rather than on functionality. It's quite an ambitious task to try and make something better than Apple, so we have a lot of work ahead of us. But what we're trying to achieve is not to be better, but to be a bit different.
So in an effort to make it more fun and perhaps more interesting, the team has created characters like Brainy here. But if blondes aren't your particular cup of tea, there are others, like the charming Spoonie. Armed with the latest voice recognition technology, this helpful little guy can field all your requests. With a simple command, he can keep you abreast of the latest news and make further suggestions based on your reaction to what he's already shown you. Also, he can give you an early heads up about the weather, so you won't be stuck in the rain with no umbrella. And if you're looking to kill a little time while waiting for friends in real life, he can show you new videos to make the time fly by. Now, their EverFriends app is still a work in progress, but they're doing all they can to add new features. For example, designers here at iFree's offices in St. Petersburg are currently working to come out with new personalities, different wardrobes, and expanded functionalities. But more interesting for people like me are their plans to come out with real-time rendering, a 3D interface, and improvements in artificial intelligence. They're also constantly working to better their LUA and HTML5 based voice recognition software. But despite their early success, they're confident that the best is still yet to come.
It boasts nearly 1 million subscribers in just the first 6 weeks that it's been on the market, and it currently has the highest rating, with a score of 4.6 out of 5 among similar products on the market, which are as yet few in number, but keep emerging. There will be a lot of animated characters, and they will be able to do all sorts of things, including assisting you with mobile shopping. You'll be able to tell them to shop or book tickets for you via voice commands. All this will be available through voice command feature, and as they keep track of your preferences and interests, they'll be able to suggest things like what to do in your free time. Also, for instance, if you have a child, they'll remind you a week prior to his or her birthday and can suggest a gift appropriate for the child's age, say an alphabet book, and also recommend a seller that can deliver it right to you.
The sad truth is that behind every blonde lurks a beast, interested mostly in you spending money. But seriously, most roads in the app world seem to lead to retail. Many of the latest programs, including those from iFree, look to match potential buyers with prospective retailers. The company's Deal Hunter app, for example, not only shows you nearby stores and restaurants, but tips you off to those with special deals at the moment. There's also a pair of apps to get you in the air. Their Smartif programs can help you find temporary sales, as well as compare prices for flights in general. Certainly useful for you and me, but even more so for the sellers taking part. One retail-oriented mobile technology that got a lot of pub in Barcelona is NFC, or near-field communication. And the ever-active team at iFree is busying themselves here as well. Earlier this year, they signed a partnership agreement with NXP Semiconductors. Now, iFree's goal is to find solutions for developing NFC infrastructure and application in Russia, like these interactive ads. Now, the basics of this technology have been around for a while, but only recently has it found its way into our very pockets.
So what we have today is basically the emergence of NFC in smartphones. Going forward, we're going to have additional smartphones. So, for example, there are 48 smartphones on the market today with NFC technology, and that equates to tens of millions of units. Last year, the estimates are between 35 to 40 million units. Going into next year, we're talking about something in the estimates of 70 to 100 million units per the market analysts. And then, as you go forward, you'll see the higher attach rate of NFC, not just in the smartphone devices, but also into tablets as well.
As the number of compatible devices grows, so too will the companies investing in the necessary infrastructure. As iFree's showroom highlights, there are more uses than you might expect.
A mobile phone is better than a plastic card because it has a screen, and it can use a wireless connection to upload applications. And there are a variety of areas where you can use these mobile phones and plastic cards. For instance, using NFC to pay at a vending machine is simple. All you have to do is launch the relevant application and click the Make Payment icon. Then you put your phone next to the receiver and the retail operation is carried out. Furthermore, I can use my mobile to pass through turnstiles. I just let the receiver scan it and walk on through. Our latest project is the online school company, which provides a kind of service for St. Petersburg schools. Each student receives an ID card which serves as a pass for entering and exiting the school. Students' parents are notified via a text message each time they come in or leave, and students can also use the same card to pay for lunch. The school will also know how many students are there that day and therefore how many meals they need to prepare. The prospects of NFC technology come from the fact that it's a universal instrument for making payments and keeping track of assorted discounts and other applications offered to an individual. You'll be able to use your mobile's wireless connection to upload electronic documents, e-money, various discounts, etc. We hope this technology will become a universal tool that in the future will become quite commonplace.
Now, some of you out there might be frightened by the mere mention of things like NFC and its base technology, radio frequency identification, or RFID. But in reality, these things are already all around us. For example, here in the Moscow suburb of Zelenograd, Russia's leading microelectronics company, Citronics, manufactures RFID chips and puts them in the passes used by millions every day on the Moscow metro. At their assembly line, they can churn out more than 300 million RFID chips every year. And as their size shrinks and memory expands, they're finding their place in an increasing number of devices, and not just mobile phones. The same production technology will soon be used to stick energy-free memory chips wherever we want. RFID can transmit over different frequencies, so they work at different distances. One for your car passing through automatic toll booths, another for the ski pass at your favorite slope. They're also being used in libraries to keep track of their collections, and at companies like Walmart to look after all their goods. And at Russia's Perekrostok, there's a similar project underway. The popular supermarket chain, whose name could be translated as Crossroads, has teamed up with Citronics and Rus Nano to develop what they've called the Future Store. Thanks to RFID chips attached to all the products, workers can keep track of every single item in the store. That will allow the shelves to stay fully stocked and optimize the store's supply chain. But it also offers serious benefits for the consumer too. You don't have to scan each item individually, and if you have an NFC-enabled phone, there's no need to even bring your wallet along. Just tap your device to the terminal, grab your receipt, and you're on your way.
However, not all mobile tech is focused on getting money out of our wallets and goods into our hands. In fact, there are some innovations that aim to make the world a better place, one car ride at a time.
A group of enterprising students in St. Petersburg called Peacock Team are working to put the powerful CPUs in everyday mobile devices to work in a new way. Simply by downloading their Good Roads app, anyone can help municipal authorities spot bad roads more quickly and ideally more effectively. And it's something we can all help with just by going about with our daily routines.
Do you remember that we need to get the gaming component done by April? Also, we have to draw up the game logic and ask Ruslan to finish drawing all the vehicles.
Yeah, after graduation we'll have more time to get it done.
Was that one there?
Yeah, it was, the yellow one.
Their beautifully simple idea to harness pocket-sized computing power sprang from a project here at the St. Petersburg State Polytechnical University. As you drive around with your smartphone, a sensor within, called an accelerometer, takes readings, noting any sharp vibrations caused by bumps or potholes. Their application puts that information into a file and sends it onto their server, where it's integrated with a map based on GPS readings. All of this at a fraction of the cost of traditional methods.
There are a number of ways to monitor roads, such as photo monitoring and laser monitoring, which use special mobile laboratories that can cost up to $1 million.
One of those other, certainly bulkier options is this mobile laboratory operated by the Russian company Region. It drives around gathering useful data about the roads themselves, as well as just about any other object within sight. Using digital cameras on the top of the vehicle, it records information about the surface below. All the collected data are available for an operator on an ordinary laptop. It's also outfitted with a GPS module and built-in navigation system, which allows all the info to be synchronized and later processed in an office. The equipment on board is developed and produced by the company, which means it could be fitted to be attached to any make or model.
These mobile labs, at least in part, also use an accelerometer. They're basically big boxes on wheels, about 1.5 by 2 meters, which drive around town and essentially do the exact same thing that our small mobile phones are capable of doing.
But all of this young team's efforts are only as useful as their data are accurate. If governmental bodies are going to be able to use the information these innovators pass on to them, it has to be spot on. That's why it's important for them to constantly refine their algorithms and integration programs as much as possible. And the more information that comes in from app users, the more accurate their measurements will be. And considering that Russian federal authorities shell out around $7 million a year on road diagnostics, Peacock Team's handheld monitoring could help reduce such costs. And thanks to their initial work, their program can differentiate between potholes that need attention and things like curbs and speed bumps that municipal authorities are more inclined to leave in place.
Previously, these sensors were mainly used for games and other quite silly things. We've come up with a way to use them in a totally different way. That's why it's important that specialists with experience in working with and programming these kinds of sensors should be doing things that would make our world better in the long term.
And anyone wanting to make life a little smoother will soon be able to. Peacock Team's Good Roads program is due to hit the App Store on April 1st. Another thing that was evident at the Mobile World Congress back in Barcelona was the rise of Android, an impression only aided by Apple's absence from the festivities. At their sprawling exhibition, you could feel the excitement and energy that's turning their platform into a content-rich ecosystem. And with the recent launch of Android's latest version of Ice Cream Sandwich, it's likely only going to grow. But despite what it looks like, it's more than just fun and games for those committed to the further development of Android. All the apps and other developments are useless if your mobile device is corrupted by malware or, even worse, stolen. As the platform grows in popularity, the threats to Android-based products are on the rise as well. Just last December, security firms noted an explosion in the number of programs targeting Android's open operating system. To guard against those increasing risks, there's one Russian company that announced their response to these would-be bad guys.
For a long time now, we've had a product for smartphones which protects users of such devices called Kaspersky Mobile Security. And this year we've expanded our product range to cover tablets by introducing Kaspersky Tablet Security.
Now this program is a one-stop shop for protecting your device. As you might expect, it comes with a powerful antivirus program upon which Kaspersky has built its reputation. And it's incorporated the latest cloud technology to give you one more layer of security. There's also an extremely handy GPS location function. So even if you're the most forgetful person in the world, you can always rest assured you know where your tablet is. For example, if you left it in a cab, all it takes is a few clicks of the mouse, and voila, you know precisely where to find it.
Although they share the same platform, that is Android, the way people use tablets and smartphones is actually quite different. It would be rather difficult to make calls with a tablet. Therefore, while our mobile security software includes call restriction or text message anti-spam features, they're not included in the program for tablets. And on the flip side, tablets are more convenient for surfing the web. So we added a special web module to block access to malicious or phishing websites.
And as a result of their many years spotting those nasty computer codes, Kaspersky is one of the best companies out there to keep your device safe. They recently announced that the number of mobile malware samples in their database had exceeded 10,000. And in an independent test, their software was only one of 2 that identified all the malicious programs. In the same test, over half the 41 antivirus programs failed to stop most of the 600 malicious apps. But like so many things in this world, their technology could be used not just for good, but also for evil.
Kaspersky Mobile Security, as well as all of our products, employs powerful technology, like low-level access to files and whatnot. True, this technology could be used in malware, but of course it all depends on how it's applied. I'm 100% sure that not a single antivirus software vendor is doing that. Well, actually, I do know one exception, but I won't give the name of our competitor here. They don't use these technologies to harm anyone, because if they do it once, all of their business will be ruined overnight. So you can be sure that there are no programs or software gathering some kind of information that we don't actually need, or information that could be strictly confidential.
But as mobile devices like tablets become more popular, viruses aren't the only threat out there. For that reason, Kaspersky's latest product comes equipped with their anti-theft software. If someone happens to nab your tab, all you have to do is log into your personal account and switch on the program. That triggers Kaspersky's secret mugshot application, which snaps a series of pictures of the thief. You can also lock and delete any confidential files on your Android tab.
Whatever your preferred device or operating system, developers like those you've seen today will help make sure that you stay connected wherever you might be. So with that, it's time for us to say goodbye to Barcelona and the Mobile World Congress. We'll see you next time, and until then, enjoy the ride.